Check, check. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we begin week 9 of the 2022 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference weekly football press conference. I am Karen Carty, the Assistant Commissioner for Strategic Communications at the MEAC, and I will serve as your moderator for today's meeting. Before we start to hear from our coaches, we'll hear from Jeff Cunningham, who will update us on some MEAC weekly notes. Jeff?
Thank you and good morning. Corey Fields threw for 3 touchdowns, and the Bulldogs defense came up big in the fourth quarter on Saturday as South Carolina State escaped Oliver C. Dawson Stadium with a 26-24 win over North Carolina Central, handing the Eagles their first MEAC loss of the season. The Bulldogs have won their last 11 games against MEAC opponents, with their last such loss coming against North Carolina A&T in 2019. Quentin Williams accounted for 3 touchdowns, and Casey Hawthorne and Jarrett Hunter each had touchdown runs of more than 70 yards, as Howard celebrated homecoming on Saturday with a 35-17 win over Delaware State. It was the Bison's first true home game of the season and their first MEAC contest of the 2022 campaign. In non-conference action, Morgan State fell 38-7 to number 12 Delaware, and Alfonso Graham had a rushing touchdown for the Bears. Howard and Coppin State are neck and neck in the MEAC volleyball standings, with the Eagles just percentage points ahead of the Bison for first place. Howard, the defending MEAC champion, has won 8 straight matches after this past weekend's action, while the Eagles have won 4 in a row and set a new single-season program record for wins in a season. The 2022 MEAC Cross Country Championships, hosted by Delaware State University, will be held this Saturday at the Delaware State Outreach and Research Center in Smyrna, Delaware, with Norfolk State looking to sweep the men's and women's team titles for the 3rd straight year. The men's 8K race will begin at 11 a.m. with the women's 5K following at noon. Visit Championship Central at meacsports.com for more information. With the 2022-23 MEAC basketball season just weeks away, the Norfolk State men and Howard women have been selected as the preseason favorites to win the MEAC. Norfolk State's Joe Bryant Jr. was tabbed the men's preseason player of the year, while Coppin State's Jaya Alexander was named the women's preseason player of the year. Bryant was joined on the men's preseason first team by Coppin State's Nenda Tark, Howard's Elijah Hawkins, Norfolk State's Chris Bankston, and North Carolina Central's Justin Wright. On the women's side, the preseason first team consists of Alexander, Howard's Destiny Howell and Ayanna Warren, and Norfolk State's Camille Downs and Deja Francis. For more information on the MEAC and its 14 sponsored sports, as well as how to join the MEAC Nation Association, please visit our official website at meacsports.com. You can also follow the MEAC on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at MEAC Sports, and subscribe to the MEAC Digital Network on YouTube.
Thank you, Jeff. Just a reminder, before we begin the question and answer portion of our press conference, I'd like to remind you that to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, And when acknowledged, please state your name and the media outlet you are representing. We will now begin with Howard head coach, Coach Larry Scott. Good morning, Coach Scott. How are you?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. All right, Coach, tell us a little bit about Saturday's game against Delaware State.
Well, obviously, it's always good to win and have an opportunity to do it in an environment and an atmosphere like that. Was big for our program, not just, big for our program in totality, alums, former players, boosters, administration, family, the city of DC. So it was a good win for us. But, focus, redialed in, back to the drawing board, new week. But really happy with the way the guys came out and played. I think it was probably our most complete game of the season in all three phases: offense, defense, and in the kicking game. So I'm glad we're starting to see what that is and play ball to that type of standard across the board in all those phases. And hopefully that's something that we're going to continue to build upon as we go down the stretch here.
Awesome, Coach. And then you travel down to Norfolk this week to take on Norfolk State. What can we expect from the Bison?
Like I said, another week. We've kind of rinsed that one out of our system already yesterday. Kind of already started to move forward. I know Coach will have that ball club ready to go. They had a week off. They're playing at home. So they've been kind of getting ready for us for 2 weeks and all those good things. So I know we're going to go down there and we're going to have a heck of a game. We're in conference play. And each and every week, you better come and bring your best football. So I know he'll have them ready to go, and we'll be ready to play too as well.
Awesome, Coach. Those are my questions for you. We'll now turn to the media, beginning with Nate Henry Jr.
Sorry about that. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Nate. How we doing?
Great. Congratulations on the win Saturday. Nate Henry, Howard University Sports Information Media Group. I have several questions regarding the play on Saturday of the offensive line and the run support from the receivers, especially Antoine Murray. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, that's a standard that we want to play with here, right? Everybody's involved in the run game. If you freeze the frame and the quarterback didn't, carry out a fake to freeze and hold his guys in the part of the defense and the structure and the run scheme that he's a part of, he hears about it. Receivers out on the perimeter doing a great job of whether we're push cracking or whether we're staying man on or whether we're blocking, doing what we need to do on the perimeter. It's all one piece. When we refer to the run game, everybody has a job to do. Everybody does, not just the offensive line and the backs, but the tight ends, receivers, quarterback. Everybody's involved in that. So that's a style of play program standard for us. To make sure that that's happening. And those guys are really doing a good job out on the perimeter doing that.
Great. Second question. I know you spoke of some concerns at one time regarding the tackling from a defensive standpoint. How would you rate the tackling on Saturday?
Much improved. I think in total we only had 6 missed tackles. And that was a number that was way up there. I mean, we go back to the Yale game and we had a total of 20 missed tackles. And that's what got us in that game and really hurt us. And then we really attacked it over the bye week and in our individual portions of practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, really, making sure we hone in on tackling and it's showing up that we've gotten that work done. And I want to continue to do that because we'll continue to fit gaps well on defense and tackle and get the ball on the ground. We're going to increase our chances of having success. So really happy with where we are with that and the improvements and the strides that we've made in that area.
Thank you, Coach. What kind of challenges does Norfolk State present to you?
Oh, man, athletic. You look at them, they're long, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They're long, athletic, can, really run around. They play their scheme, and they do it very well. And you kind of don't know sometimes what you're going to get because it's a little bit of a mixed bag. They do a lot of different things with their 3-down stuff, 4-down stuff sometimes here and there, and coverages and things like that. So just a little bit of a schematic challenge. As far as, making sure you're ready for all of the things that they do. And then just pure athleticism and the ability to run, and can run around. And I know Coach Odom's been doing this for a long time, man. He's a really good football coach. And he and his staff will have this group, fired up, ready to go and to defend their home turf.
Yes, sir. One of the areas you wanted to address that of the punting game. Philip Richards only punted 3 times. 2 of them pinned Dell State deep in their territory. Talk about his performance and how important it is going to be as you head down the stretch.
Right, yeah, you go last week the week before when we had one blocked and he was out of the cylinder and kind of not hitting his aiming points and things like that. So really cleaned that up with him this week. And he stepped back in there and really punted the ball well. He's an older, experienced guy, so he took all of those corrections to heart and really focused in on them on the week of practice and came out and probably had, with only having 3 punts. And I knew that, they would probably try to heat us up a few times to see if they can get some pressure. And we did a good job with the protection up front. He did a good job being right where he needed to be and therefore had a really good day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Mia Berry.
Hi, Coach Scott. How are you today?
Good morning, Mia. I'm doing fine. Yourself?
I'm doing great. It's Mia Berry with Anscape. I just have a couple questions for you as well. For starters, this was your first full homecoming at Howard. Can you talk a little bit about that experience, how that was for you and the guys, seeing that first home game in that stadium?
Well, we kind of had a feeling it was going to be something pretty epic and pretty, what people have been looking forward to for a long time. So we really focused in on during the week of kind of really trying to handle the distractions, making sure our guys are focused and dialed in on what we needed to get accomplished. And, homecoming wouldn't be homecoming if there wasn't a football game. So making sure that we, knew what we needed to be accountable to have success and put ourselves in position to win there. So it was a real focused week for us. Amidst a lot of things going on, got the kids off campus relatively early on Friday to the team hotel to kind of, get out of the yard fest fray a little bit and keep them focused and dialed in. But it was definitely everything you've heard and more to be in that environment and, to say that they don't support football and those type of things and don't come to games before we can even get out the pregame. Those stands were already being filled to capacity. It was sold out, people sitting on the berm, standing on the track, and standing on the business building. It was one heck of an environment. And our kids did a really good job of staying tunnel vision. That's what we talked about all week, finning out home turf, having tunnel vision, coming out and playing the very best football we can. And I think we played our best football in that type of atmosphere, in that type of environment. So, but it was definitely everything you heard about. It was definitely something that you'll remember forever.
In addition to homecoming, you also nabbed your first MEAC win of the season. Can you talk a little bit about, I know this game's on the back burner, can you talk a little bit about the confidence coming in your 1-0 in conference play, how that really helps your guys heading into the rest of the season?
Right. I think a lot of times, some of the questions when we were 1-5 coming out of the tough, out of conference schedule that we were playing all on the road and all those things, there were a lot of questions about our football team. And our football team has been gaining confidence week in and week out, playing against some pretty good competition and having all of the challenges that you can be up against to do that. And we were continuing to build. We may not have gotten the results that we wanted early, but we were in all of those games. And what we did was, sharpen iron, learn from our mistakes, get better at the things we really needed to attack and clean up, to put ourselves in the best position possible as we go down the stretch here in the conference play, because we all know what that is. And around here, it's a one-game season each week, one day at a time, one rep at a time, one game at a time. It's kind of what we're going by right now, and that's what we're focused on. And right now, that game's done. Homecoming was great, but it's in the books. It's a wrap. It's history. And just like we try to flush out losses as fast as we can, we got to flush this win as fast as we can and move on and get our focus pinpointed on going down to Norfolk and playing the very best football we can.
Okay, Coach, my final question for you. You did kind of reference it earlier this year. You spent a lot of your time on the road. Your 3 of your remaining MEAC games are also on the road. Can you tell me what are some of those lessons you learned on the road that you would think really would help your team as they get to Norfolk, to Central, and to Morgan State this season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you never know how, what you go through and all of those type of things and the lessons that you're trying to get out of it. And I think what our guys have learned is when you go on the road, there's a certain amount of things you got to make sure is in the bag, right? Your kicking game's got to be really good. You got to play great special teams because field position and time of possession and all those type of things are momentum swing plays. And when you're on the road, the one thing you got to be able to do is capture momentum and find ways to hold on to it. And your kicking game a lot of times create that. So we got to play really good special teams on the road. We got to be, everybody's got to be focused and dialed in. We got to establish how we want to play on our terms on the road so that we can dictate, again, a lot of where the momentum stays. Because in the end, it's just us and the few people that come to support us that are in that stadium against everyone else there. So having a togetherness mentality, staying together, playing for each other, and playing and feeding that through our special teams, I think is the biggest key. I'm not going to even mention offense and defense because at the end of the day, if you do that and you're playing good in the kicking game, you're probably playing pretty well on offense and defense. So I think that's what we've learned, and I think that's what we got to be ready to do as we go down this stretch.
Thank you, Coach. That's all I had. Have a blessed rest of today.
You do the same. Thank you.
Dr. Coville.
This is Kenyatta with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Scott.
Good morning.
Congratulations on the victory. In terms of the rankings, a lot of people saw it as an upset. I'm sure you and your team went in with a different mindset. But with that being said, I wanted to focus a little bit on the rushing attack. Obviously, we were able to put 266 yards, including the sacks that took away some yardage. But I wanted to focus on two players in particular. Tell me about their style and their vision in terms of how they run the ball. And that's Jared Hunter, who had 9 carries, 89 yards, almost 10 yards a carry, and got in the end zone, as well as Casey Hawthorne, who just had 3 carries, but for 75 yards, averaging 25 a yard with 1 touchdown. Talking about the 1-2 punch of those two, among the others, but specifically those two and their style and their vision for moving the ball down the field.
Right. Well, I'll start with Jared. I think Jared is one of the most complete football players that I've, on our team and then that I've been around. He's, he got really good hands out of the backfield. He's really good in pass protection, has good vision, good balance, knows how to run the football, knows when things are there and when to hit them, and knows when things aren't there. And hey, give us another chance by getting the ball back to the line of scrimmage. He's just a really good football player that every time he's in the game, is something, you got a chance for something really good to happen. Casey Hawthorne is basically a guy that plays our slot receiver position that's, has a skill set of a tailback, but has the hands and ability to run routes over the receiver. So again, another really good complete football player that brings a lot of can bring a lot of variety to what you can do with him and how you can use him in places like that can, put the defense in some conflict sometimes with his skill set. So being able to line him up there and direct snap to him or motion him and get it to him or, run a routes in our tree and in progression and he'd be able to find ways to get open and find holes. And then when he becomes dangerous is when he's in the open field with the ball under his arms because he turns into a true tailback in space. And he's a guy that you better, bring your hard hat to tackle and get on the ground. And he has the ability to make you miss and run by you too. So, those two guys, along with, the Eden James and Ian Willers of the world, Richie Olazars and those guys, we got some guys that can really do some things with the ball under their arms. But what I'm most happy with is how these guys are playing without the football in their hands. They're playing truly to our style of play. They're playing physical. They're blocking on the perimeter. They understand their why within the schemes and different things that we're doing, and they're executing right now at a pretty good level. And we're just going to continue to intensify that and make sure we're holding to that standard and playing good football to it like that as well.
Thank you, Coach. I'll let some of my colleagues get in here and follow up with some additional questions. I look forward to the matchup this week against Norfolk State.
Appreciate it, Doc. Thank you.
Mr. Foreman.
Coach Scott, good morning. Skip Foreman with HBCU Game Day.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing fine. In a 6-team league, there's not much margin for error. You have to. It looks on the surface that you have to win out if you're going to win the conference title. Is there pressure that's compounded by the size of the league and the need to win if you're going to take home a championship?
No, I think if you got a championship mindset, it's to win them all each and every time. And I tell our guys all the time, your preparation frees you. Okay, so that whole idea of pressure is the figment of everybody else's imagination. If you're doing the work, right? And you're taking, how we progress out the work of preparing for games, from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, what our routine, preparation schedule is. You're spending the time with it, you're studying, you're learning, you're working out, you're working hard on the field when we go to practice. It's to allow you to be free on game day, free of pressure. There's no pressure that's applied to that, because at the end of the day, you never elevate up, right? You just fall back on your training. So, our schedule and what we've had to go through this year has been training for us. It's been building us week in and week out. We've been calling it, around here, we've been pruned, right? We're getting and sometimes pruning hurts when you're growing and developing and learning all the things you need to do to be the championship type of team we want to be. So all those things we've learned from, all those things has reduced the anxiety and what we can do and who we can be, as long as we take care of the things that we control. So we don't pressurize those situations. We allow the guys to understand that how you're built, fall back on that. And that's good enough. And the process of that was good enough, and it'll propel you to where you want to be if you're truly prepared and you go out and execute and play to what our standards are.
And just to be sure, you said the word pruned as in pruning a bush. Or
exactly right.
Right. Make sure I got that right. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach, this is Daryl Duvall, Power You Media. I just want to say congratulations on your win this coming weekend. I had just had one question. Really, one or two, is both of them the same, but just the game itself, the players kind of played around the homecoming, the atmosphere of that. What are your takeaways from that game, seeing if there was any mistakes? And obviously, having a lot of people there really made a difference in the outcome of the game. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, anytime, we have the ability here, and this is something that I've been trying to work with our student body and everybody here. We have the ability here to create an atmosphere that can be pretty intimidating to walk into, all right? It can be something that we all can rally around and build around and make it hard for people to come in here and beat us. Football is such a game of momentum, and we can always create that somewhat of that type of atmosphere. We all know it won't be to that level all the time, but if we can create a really good home atmosphere, that's generating, that creates momentum, that creates togetherness, that creates Howard Bison pride, that promotes who we really are as a university. Then, of course, when the young men come in here, you're going to play a little bit harder to defend your home turf. And so that, obviously all of those elements and things help a little bit, but I think in the end for these guys, it was just, everything that we've been going through and how we've been built and what we've been talking about is what we needed to do to get better at. They challenged themselves to go out and just do those things. Don't do nothing more than just your job and do it to the ability in which you've been trained and which you've been built and do it all together and be accountable to what that is what you saw really come to light. And it's something that actually has been coming to light over the last few weeks. It just didn't come over in the win-loss column as much, but to us as coaches and watching what's been transpiring, we've been encouraged each and every week as we come out of it, as we're building this team to what we want it to be. Because again, we don't just want to build a football team here at Howard. We're building a football program, one that's going to be built to sustain, that when it reaches where it needs to be, it has the ability to be that year in and year out and be a contender for a championship every year.
Well, thank you, Coach. Good luck at your coming weekend.
Thank you.
James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the fellas are well on the hill. Congratulations on that homecoming victory. Can you talk a little bit about Mr. Williams, the air game, going 11 of 17 for...
Yeah, you asked about Quentin Williams and his performance?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we thought, Q played a really good game. There's a couple things here or there that we can still get cleaned up, as with the whole team. One thing I was disappointed with a little bit is how we finished. I was disappointed in that a little bit in the fourth quarter because we always want to win the fourth. I don't care what's going on, whether we're down or whether we're up. We're going to be a four-quarter team that knows how to win and finish in the fourth quarter. So a little disappointed in that, and that's something that I got after the guys a little bit about and cleaning up. But back to your question, Q. I thought he allowed the game to come to him, which has probably been his most complete game of just allowing that to happen. He saw things very well. He didn't force things. He didn't, Try to make plays out of, when he didn't need to create a play, just take the play that came to him. That way we were very efficient. Used his legs when he needed to in certain situations. And if he'll continue to do that and play to that style and play to that completeness, we're going to give ourselves a chance offensively to kind of finish strong as we can down the stretch. But it's going to all start with him and how he plays and how he prepares and how he plays on game day. So I thought he played really, really well. But the big thing there is he was very efficient with his decisions and what he decided, what he was doing with the football.
Coach Scott, just talk about the mentality of your program going on the road to Dick Price Stadium to take on Norfolk. Should be a great game this weekend.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a great game. And like I said, man, our Coach Oden's a heck of a coach, and he's been doing this for a very long time and had an awful lot of success. So he knows what he's doing down there and getting that thing rolling. It's going to be a tough football game. We know we're going to be in for one. We're in league play now. We're in conference play. And week in and week out, if you're not bringing your A game, you're not prepared both mentally and physically for these games to be 4-quarter games and come all the way down to the wire and understand that the teams 9 times out of 10 that makes the least amount of stakes is going to win the game. Then we're in the wrong mindset. And like I said, for us right now, it's a one day at a time mentality for one game. So it's, one day, what do we got to do today to be successful? Tuesday, what do we got to do in practice to be successful and win that day? And one rep at a time, and one practice at a time, one game at a time. And that's our focus, and that's what we're going to go down there with, that type of laser focus on what we got to do to be successful versus them.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach Scott, those are the questions for you today. Thank you for being with us and good luck this week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care. The Bison travels to Norfolk, Virginia to take on the Norfolk State Spartans at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The game will be live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have North Carolina Central head coach Trey Oliver. Good morning, Coach Oliver. How are you?
I'm well, Karen. How are you doing this morning?
Doing well. All right. Can you give us an opening statement about Saturday's game at South Carolina State?
Yeah, it was a great game, and I'm sure a lot of fans and folks watching enjoyed the game. I thought it was a hard-fought game. We didn't play to my expectations, and as well as we would have needed to play to beat a championship team like South Carolina State. But the things that we have done previously coming into the game, I didn't think we did it, as well as far as our third down conversion offense and red zone offense. Those two areas that we led the country in, and came in Saturday, we didn't execute there. We had way too many penalties. Some of them I'm still looking for on film. I can't seem to find them anywhere, but too many costly penalties. And again, our kicking game. We've left 13 points out there in the kicking game over the last 2 years, and have given lost about 4 points. So we got to figure out how to make some field goals and convert, during those situations.
All right, Coach, looking ahead to this week, you travel to Dover to take on Delaware State. What can we expect from you all this week?
It doesn't get any easier. The Del State looks just as good as South Carolina State. Coach Milstead is doing a great job with those guys, and I know they had gone through some things up there, some turmoil, some tough times within the last, I guess, 10 or so days. But they played really well early on. They kind of stubbed their toe against Howard a little bit, this past weekend. But they got very good receiving core. They're very physical up front with the run game. And defensively, I think they lead every category in the MEAC. So it's going to be another tough game this week.
All right. Well, good luck this week. Let's hear from the media with the first question coming from Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's Inside the HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Oliver.
Good morning, Doc. Good seeing you.
I appreciate that. Watched the game. It was very intense throughout the game in terms of how it was played at such a high level. And I asked that question in terms of there was so much emotion going into that game, knowing what it meant to kick off MEAC play in a lot of ways for South Carolina State. Obviously, you go into your second game. all the preseason work, get in there. What do you discuss with your team to make sure that they move forward because they put so much in the game and obviously left a lot on the field?
Right, definitely. And it was, it was that was like you said, it was an intense game. And guys were, hurt after the game. And I sent out a message to the guys after we got back. And Jones was a tough one. We let one get away from us, but it's not the end of the world. We lost the game. So, we're going to put this one behind us after we watch the film, make corrections, and we'll move on. It was one football game. We definitely wanted to win that game. But it was one game. And, you're going to hit adversity in life, and you got to shake back. So that's what we're doing this week.
With that being said, you talk about some of the missed opportunities. I guess you focus on correcting those things so you're continuing to strive to get better. And then in the matchup with Delaware State, both teams now have one loss and with not so many conference games in terms of 5 to play. In a lot of ways, it seems like whoever comes out of this game on the losing side really has a hurdle to come. So just the importance of the focus on this game, what are the things that you want your team to be able to take the next step to continue the hurdles of this season of playing good football?
Right, that's a great question. And, you're talking about, whoever loses and has 2 losses, really one loss and you're going to have problems, as far as contending for a championship. But we hadn't been talking about championship. We talked about winning this week. Let's be 1-0, and let's work to improve the following week. So that's what it is. We can't let South Carolina State beat us twice, bottom line. So, we have to put that one behind us. And, we have a saying around here, Eagles can't beat Eagles. And I thought Eagles beat Eagles last weekend. And we've got to work to get better this week and come up there with a mindset of we have another opportunity to play the football game. So we'll be up there. We'll be ready and prepared to play Delaware State.
Last question I have there is in terms of your rushing game, Latrell Collier had 140 yards on 16 carries, 8.8, almost 9 yards, got in the end zone. Talk about his style of play and his vision. What does he bring to the table?
I'm sorry, Mookie Collier?
Yes.
Yeah. Mookie had a great day. And you could not have told me we would rush for 243 yards against South Carolina State and lose that game.
Right.
But Mookie, man, great young man, runs hard, runs behind his pads. It was a couple other runs. I thought if he, lifted his knees up a little bit more, he might have been able to break up a few more tackles. But he's blue collar, he's a tough guy. He's great in pass pro. And, he's a great team player. But, 243 yards and you lose a game rushing. That's crazy.
That is. Look forward to the matchup this week. Good luck, Coach Oliver.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Mr. Foreman.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning,
Skip Foreman, HBCU game day. You alluded to it with Dr. Gaville, but in a 6-team league, one loss, it's not fatal, but it doesn't leave you any margin for error. Discuss that aspect of trying to win a championship and where you are right now in hoping to get that done, given there's only one loss, but you can't afford another one.
Skip, for us, it's one day at a time. And I had to work extremely hard during high school and college to get through my math courses. So I wasn't very strong in math. So I'm not going to do all that, trying to figure things out with losses and wins and everything like that. So we knew we had to win that game to have an opportunity to win a championship. So I'm not worried about, and I talked to the guys, we're not going to sit here and waste any time trying to figure out who needs to lose and where we need help and who needs to help us. Let's just take it one game at a time and win this week. So we're not going to worry about who needs help and whatever the standings and all that other mess. So we lost last week. We're disappointed. We put it behind us and we're moving on to Delaware State.
Quick final question. How's the team's health going into this week against Delaware State?
We're banged up, but so is everybody this time of the year. We lost, I think, 2 guys out for the season this past week, lower body injuries. And we got a couple other guys banged up, but, that's part of football. You're in week 7, you're going to have some guys that have bumps and bruises and out for the season.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Skip.
James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the guys are well. Can you talk a little bit
James, I think we're losing
about the
you.
ground attack? And you did earlier. And I look at my phone and I look back up. Can you hear me now?
A little bit. You said something about a ground attack.
Yeah.
James sound like T-Pain, Karen.
I'm standing behind the end zone, and I look down at my phone. I'll take us back to Mookie's 60-yard touchdown run.
Okay, I got Mookie's 60-yard touchdown run. Yeah. We ran an off-tackle play, and O-line did a good job of getting some movement. I thought we played well up front in the run game. I was not nearly as pleased with our offensive line and our pass protection. I thought Pee Wee got a little antsy early because of the pressure. So the O-line I wish we would have played a little bit better there. But Mookie, he saw a crease and hit it and had an opportunity to hold their defensive back, their corner off, and took it for 60. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Coach, just talk about moving forward. It's a very, and teams take advantages to win.
I missed that one. Karen, can you help me?
I think he said just talk about moving forward and what it's going to take to keep winning in the conference.
Scoring more points than other team. It's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of parity in this conference. And like I said, watching Delaware State, last night to the wee hours of the morning, to me, I think they're just good at South Carolina State. And then I watched them and Howard play. Howard has a very good football team. So, it's a lot of parity in the conference. And it's never about the other team. It's about us. And we just have to handle our business. We can't get the ball inside the 4-yard line and not come away with points. We can't create a turnover the second drive of the game in the red zone on their territory and not come away with points. And, you're not going to beat anybody, much less the South Carolina State, if you're not putting points on the board. And we had been successful doing that all year. We didn't Saturday, and that hurt us.
All right, next question from Dr. Cavill.
Yes, Coach Oliver, I'd be remiss if I didn't jump on this question. And I know you talk about one practice at a time, one game at a time. So this may be more for the sports information and athletic director side. But I want to know when would likely be the appropriate time to start looking at the alternative option in terms of the overall team, if you're able to push through and get the wins, and look at the FCS playoffs in terms of seeking a bid. We saw last year with FAMU, they put on, a marketing, if you would, campaign, for a lack of better words, to make sure that their name was in the mix for a playoff bid. Again, I know this may be unfair to you as you'd like to focus on the game, but I think it'd be remiss if we didn't get this on the table for a team with non-conference quality wins in front of them in case things do not work out for winning a championship and heading to the celebration.
Right. And that probably is a question for Kyle. And if it takes a campaign for us to get from my part to make it to the playoffs, we won't make it to the playoffs because I'm only going to worry about the next game. And I'm not going to be sitting here on social media and doing posters and billboards about us getting to the playoffs. And we have so many games left. Some folks want to talk about Celebration Bowl, and I have some choice words for them last week. I don't want to talk about Celebration Bowl. I don't want to talk about anything, just South Carolina State. So I have not given the playoffs any thought at all. I have not watched any film on any other opponent except for Delaware State. So I'm not going to worry about that. So, I let the powers that be, the AD or Kyle Serber handle that one.
Appreciate it, Coach. I'll work it on my side.
Mia Berry.
Hi, Coach Oliver. How are you today?
I'm well, Mia. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing well and blessed. I just have one quick question for you. I wanted to know, how's the team confidence and morale? Hard-fought game against South Carolina State didn't kind of end the way you wanted it. So how's their confidence and morale going deeper into this conference season? And have you and the coaching staffs kind of done anything different or will do anything this week to kind of uplift them and make sure they are still ready, focused, and prepared for Delaware State?
Ooh, great question. We talked yesterday, and I got a text from my mom, Mia. You met my mom before, and she was talking about TD Jakes and going through the storm and things like that, and voices you listen to. And you're gonna have some critics out there that are gonna tell you how you need to be doing things. You'll have some people send you well wishes, usually your mom and dad, and baby, it's gonna be okay. Then you have some people that aren't gonna have so many positive things to say about you. So you have to stay positive. And everything, you always gonna go through storms and adversity in life, but stay positive. And what I did tell them was that, baby, it's gonna be okay. It'll be okay if we put the work in to get better. It's just not gonna be okay just because we say that. Obviously, we don't listen to the critics, and we have to stay positive around here. But yeah, the guys were hurt after the game, definitely. But I texted them, like I said, that night and told them I loved them. We lost one, and let's move on.
Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, you alluded to it earlier, even last week, that you were wary of South Carolina State, despite their start to the season, and they were still kind of the standard in the conference, and they could still be a team to be reckoned with. Why do you think South Carolina State, when it comes to MEAC play, is just so difficult to overcome for their opponents?
Well, it's not just them. I mean, you look at the games they were in last year. Norfolk State had them down. A lot of folks play them close. And, like I say, there's a lot of parity in here. So they've had a lot of success, but it's not like they were just blowing people out. They're a confident group. They do an outstanding job recruiting. They're a very physical football team, and they have playmakers. But I don't think there's a big difference between their program and any other school in the MEAC. But they are a very good football team.
Right. Yeah, I asked that question because they've won the last 11 games in the MEAC, and that's a kind of a huge sample size. And played against them over the years. What about their team just in their makeup make them so difficult to week in and week out beat in this conference?
I can't speak about the other 9. They beat us twice and by 2 points both times. So when you have a championship football team, the guys are confident and they're not going to beat themselves. And I think that they do a good job of doing that. They overcome adversity, and they're talented and well coached. But those 2 losses we had by 2 points, they hurt, and we got to figure out a way to find those, win those games. But they're a very good football team, and Coach Pugh's done an outstanding job with them.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Coach Oliver, thank you for your time this morning, and good luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you, Karen. Have a good day.
You too. The Eagles take on the Hornets of Delaware State at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Watch the game live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have Delaware State head coach, Coach Rod Milstead. Good morning, Coach Milstead. How are you?
Good morning, Karen. I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. First off, Coach, I'd like to offer our condolences on the passing of Coach Brian Broussard last week. Hope you guys are managing as well as possible.
We are. Thank you, Karen. Before we even start, I want to give a big shout out. Thank you for what Howard University did. They caught me so off guard with that right after the national anthem. I think they were making a tribute to one of their athletic people who had passed away. And then shortly thereafter, they did a tribute to Coach Broussard, whom shortly after this call last week, I was informed that he had passed away. He lost a battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 55. The third week of the season, we were walking out to practice. He collapsed, and then 27 days later, he was with the Lord. So it's been difficult. Our guys have had some adversity with that, dealing with death and the mental response to it has been rough. But we're going to do it for Coach Broussard, and we know we got to regroup and continue to play football. So, first of all, the game, Coach Scott had his guys prepared. I knew what type of atmosphere it was going to be. I mean, heck, I grew up in the DC area, so I know what our homecoming is all about. And I know the celebrities come out, and I knew that the field was going to be a chain of people around the field, and it was exactly what I predicted. Our guys just, for some reason, didn't play. We didn't play well. In no aspects of our defense, which has been stellar all year long, gave up 150 yards of rushing in 2 plays, which is something that hasn't been done. And we got to go back to the drawing board and get these things corrected. We had a great meetings yesterday and got some work in yesterday, but we have to go back to the drawing board and get prepared for North Carolina Central. Howard had a good game plan. They executed it. We didn't, and they deserve to win. And I take my hat off to Coach Scott. But now we're on to North Carolina Central this week for our homecoming.
All right, Coach, and you mentioned Central this week for homecoming. What can we expect from the Hornets?
Well, we gotta find a way to play 3 quarters of football again. Last week we went back to the old Del State Hornets, playing sporadically. We came off the first drive, got 3, and our defense is usually really stellar. They gave up a touchdown, and we stalled on offense. And of course, they got another touchdown. We're down 14-3. And then the second half, we kind of just the wheels fell off the wagon, so to speak. We couldn't do anything right until we got to the fourth quarter, and was able to score 2 more touchdowns. But need more consistent play up front on both sides of the football. We go where our linemen take us. That's up front on the offense and up front on the defensive side. And I don't think that either one of them played up to their ability last week. So we're going to get that corrected, and we'll come out and be ready to fight this week.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck. We'll now have some media questions, beginning with Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's Inside HBC Sports Lab. Coach Milstead, first allow me to echo with Karen and provide my condolences to you, prayers for you and your coaches, the players, and all of Delaware State Universities. May the memories stay deep in your heart, help to soothe you. You and your family are in my prayers.
I appreciate it.
With that said, go ahead, please.
I also want to thank a lot of the MEAC coaches that have reached out. We have a MEAC coaches family. We have a chat group that we're all, text group that we're all in. And these guys found it not robbery to give me a call and to express their condolences. It's hard. I mean, I've never gone through this during the season. When I was a high school coach, I went through almost something very similar. One of my coaches had pancreatic cancer and he passed away, but he passed away in the off season. This was a shocker to all of us because Coach Broussard seemed pretty healthy to us, overweight like everybody else, but, seemed pretty healthy. We didn't expect that he would collapse on the practice field. And then 27 days later, he's gone. So just want to say thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. Our team is doing well mentally. We have counselors in place for coaches and players. And so that has been well. But, like I told the players, we're not going to make any excuses on why we didn't win last week. That's not the excuse. That should have been more of the motivation. So why we should have played well. But unfortunately, we didn't. And so this week is a big week, and Central played a heck of a game against South Carolina State. They're I know Trey said it about us, but I mean, they're every team in this league is using South Carolina State as the measuring stick. And every time Central plays South Carolina State, it's been close. It's been really, really close. Same thing with Delaware State and Central. It's come down to one score. That Delaware State and Central, Delaware State and South Carolina State. And every time we play Central, it's close. Last year, it went to overtime, and they scored a touchdown, and we had a field goal block. So it's going to be a tight game. We know this. The teams are evenly yoked. Trey's a heck of a coach. He does great things on the offensive side with his quarterback and, his receivers. They can beat you with the pass. They have a running back who's dynamic. So they're a well-rounded football club, and it's going to take our A game, okay, to win this one on Saturday.
Coach, I want to say I appreciate you putting the counseling framework on the table. Obviously, we talked about mental health, and we've got a great deal of more aspect of the importance of it. Obviously, coming out of COVID-19 in a lot of ways has pushed it forward. So I appreciate you putting that on the table because I think it is important. Sports can be therapeutic. So if you would, I'll get back to asking some questions in terms of what takes place on the field of action. With that being said, I want to talk about the mental makeup in regards to going into a game where, at least in terms of the poll rankings, and I know there's other conversation for the media, some people would see it as an upset. You told us and warned us, that atmosphere, you're from DC, what goes in. What kind of things can you do as a coach to see where your team is at? Or are there different things that you can do beyond practice in terms of psychology or the mental part of the game? Is that something that is worth us getting into, or is that too much of a distraction of really talking about the psychology of a football game?
No, you have to talk about the psychology of the football game because it's part of the preparation. Okay, some people may leave that out.
Okay,
but that's part of the preparation. And so what we usually do is that when we go into our meetings and our position groups, we try to open up the floodgates, meaning let's talk about something other than football. Okay, let's talk about something other than football because we're going to get to the football piece, but let's talk about something other than football because our coaches' makeup is to get to know the players, not only just the football player, but his home life, what's happening at home, how about his family, his brothers, his sisters, everything that goes on. And then after about 15 minutes of that, then we get into the football aspect of the X and O's and how we're going to move forward that way. And I've done that since I've been here because I found that if I know a player, I can help a player. I can help better serve a player in those times of crisis, in those times of needs, in those times where, our kids, and I'm quite sure kids throughout the country, they experience death, something that they haven't been around long enough to understand why and understand how. And so for me, being the head coach, I have to step in and be that father figure at times for that mental aspect and trying to get them to understand that, at some point, all of our numbers are going to get called, but it's how you process it and how you deal with it and get back to the business of football. Sometimes when you look at it, all aspect, I always coach faith, family, football in that order. And if one of the first two are compromised, that third one is non-existent. You have to do it that way because without your faith, we wouldn't be here. Without your family, you wouldn't be here at Delaware State playing football. Okay, those two things allow you that opportunity. So sometimes we got to reach back and understand the makeup and find out why we're not getting the productivity from a particular player. Sometimes it has nothing to do with football. It has to do with something that his mindset is on either back home or here at and it could be something meaningful that him and his girlfriend broke up. Okay, but he has no one to go to really have those conversations. And once we address those things and kind of give them an opportunity to process it, they usually tend to go back to being that good football player and moving the dial forward.
Great points. Focus on North Carolina Central, another team. You talk about how balanced this league is in terms of the competition, the talent that's throughout the league. What are some things that Delaware State, the Hornets, need to do to go into this game and come out on the other side with a victory?
Man, it's simple. Stop the run. Stop the run. We didn't do a good job of that last week. And of course, Central did a great job of it, of running the football. So the first thing we got to do, we got to stop the run. We're going to have to put some pressure on their quarterback because it all starts with him. He will RPO you to death. And, you thinking that he's great, hand the ball up, all of a sudden he cocks up and he launches a rocket. And he does it. He can also beat you with his feet as well. He's a orchestrator back there, and he orchestrates the entire offense. And their defense, they fly around. They have been flying around ever since Trey got there. They take the mindset of their coach. They're fast, they're strong, they're quick. They gave last week. They gave South Carolina State everything they wanted, but a couple mistakes here and there, and that was the difference in the ball game. But we got our hands cut out for us on Saturday. When Central comes here, it's always a tough game. It's a physical game, and it's going to come down to a team to make the fewest mistakes and create some turnovers. It's going to be the team that wins.
Thank you, Coach. Point well taken. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you.
James Hill.
Hey, good morning. Well, and condolences to the Delaware State University football family. Talk a little bit about moving forward with your ball club and your impressions of last weekend.
Last weekend is not who we are, and that's the part that concerns me. We have to find a way to play 4 quarters of consistent football, and for some reason last week, I'm not sure if it was the element of the big stage is what did it, but when we've done something over and over correctly, especially leaning towards our defense. And then last week, it seems like, people came to see our defense, put on a show, and we didn't perform well last weekend defensively. And that I'm not ready to throw the towel in, of course, but I am waiting to generate more competition at practice to get us to play better. I think maybe some of our guys have got a little complacent because of the past 3 outings of us playing Howard was in our favor. And I shared with them that's not the same Howard football team. And then getting their quarterback back was a big deal. He is he was sharp. I watching all the films that he's played, that was his best game that he's played to date. He really did a phenomenal job orchestrating, finding open receivers, putting the ball where his guys could get it, and then orchestrating on his RPOs and giving his running backs the opportunity to be the fast running backs that they are. So we didn't really play the game that we wanted to play, and on no aspects, offense, defense, or especially special teams. Some of the mistakes that we made, and then the penalties. The penalties were unreal. Some of the things that we had, and it was all senseless penalties. And I got to do a better job of getting our team more matured to handle the big stage and ready to play when the big spotlights come on.
Coach, I had the opportunity to get a firsthand look at Central on Saturday in Orangeburg. I'm seeing a gritty team, a hard-nosed team, a very competitive team. They can, as you know, they can throw it around and they can definitely run. When you look at what Trey is doing with North Carolina Central, talk about the Eagles that you see so far.
They're a well-rounded football club all the way through. It starts with their quarterback, of course, and then they got a dynamic running back that can take it to the house like he did last week. And then their offensive schematics and what they do, they put you in conflict. They can score quick. They can score fast. They create turnovers like they did against Morgan. They can really run the score up early with the style of football that they play offensively and defensively. Their defensive guys are very stingy. They create turnovers. The ball happens to go their way a lot of times, a couple tip passes, and their guys are sitting right there just to grab the ball for an interception. So the makeup of their program is of their head coach, and Trey will definitely have those guys ready to play. And we got to play lights out to win this football game Saturday.
Coach, in closing, guys work hard all year to get to this point. Here we are as we move through October and get into November. And this is what it's all about, the MEAC every Saturday. just talk about a golden opportunity to continue to compete. And, with 6 teams around, there's not much margin for error.
Well, the difference is last week we were in the driver's seat because we hadn't had any losses in the MEAC. Once you have one loss, you're not in the driver's seat anymore. Okay, you're still in the car, okay, but you're not the driver. Okay, so you can still get to your destination, okay, because you're in the car. But in order for you to have an opportunity to drive the car, now it's going to reflect on other people and other things kind of happening. So that gives you an opportunity to drive the car to the destination. So that's how I explained it to our guys yesterday. They understand it. We will revisit that again tomorrow when we go out to practice. And we will practice with a purpose tomorrow, and that's to win a football game on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Milstead, sorry, I couldn't get unmuted. Thank you for your time today. Good luck this weekend. If there's anything that we can do to help at the MEAC office, please let us know. Oh, you're muted, Coach.
I appreciate it, Karen. You guys have a great week.
Thank you as well. The Hornets return home to celebrate homecoming this Saturday. They host the Eagles of North Carolina Central at 2 p.m. The game will be seen live at the MEAC on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have NSU head coach, Coach Dawson Odoms. Good morning, Coach Odoms. How are you?
Doing great. Good morning.
All right, Coach. How was your open week? Did you guys get some rest? What did you work on?
Much needed rest. Couldn't have come at a better time. Beat up football team. Guys got a chance to heal, recover, get some rest, and hopefully get rejuvenated for this last part of the season. And we're down to the Final Four. So the last third of the season, and we got some guys back, got some guys healthy. So that was important for the bye week.
Awesome. Really great to hear that. So what can we expect from the Spartans on Saturday as the Howard Bison come to town?
Well, we're going to play a good football team. Coach Scott's doing a great job. They're as advertised. They played a difficult schedule as well, and they're battle tested. We get them at home. We gotta play better in order to have a chance. They're explosive on offense. You can see that they really tweaked some things and got much better on defense. I watched the Delaware State game. It was an exciting football game. They jumped out on them early, and had a great environment for their homecoming, and they played really well. And we're gonna have to play. They're as advertised, and they're doing a very good job up there.
Awesome, Coach. Those are my questions. We'll now turn to the media, beginning with Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavil's inside the HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Odoms.
Oh, good morning. How you doing?
You talked about the needed break to get healthy. Can you talk a little more in terms of how healthy that you were able to get with some key players or depth within your football team?
Well, we got a lot of guys that are out for the season, but we were able to get a couple guys back on the O-line that missed our previous game. We had to shift our O-line around, and that's one of the positions that's hard because continuity is so important and consistency with that group because those 5 have to work together. And when you have 1 or 2 guys out of that group, it really makes it different. But we get some guys back. So that's going to make a big difference in hopefully how we play offensively and defensively. We lost our 2 corners, and our young guys have been in there. Hopefully a couple of games under their belt now, they play a little bit better. But we're going to play against probably a skill set of receivers that's very good. Offensive line does a good job. Quarterback does an outstanding job. So defensively, we're going to have to compete at a high level. And offensively, we're going to have to show up because this is going to be one of those games where you probably got to score some points. Howard has put up some points in about every game they played. They're explosive, and they count on the explosive play, and they got explosive players. So we're going to have to be locked in. And that's what this week is all about. It's getting our football team, understanding who we are, how we go play and finish the last 4 games of this season, starting with Howard.
Thank you, Coach O. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you.
James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and all the fellas will talk a little bit about the law and how competitive the MEAC is, and when you get time, it's all about moving forward every week and getting W's.
What do you say, Karen?
The competition in the MEAC and how moving forward, you need to get better every week.
It's very competitive. I mean, as you got a chance to probably watch college football this weekend, any given Saturday, any given day, you can be beating this game because it's a lot of parity in it. And our conference is one that is from top to bottom. Anybody can beat anybody any given time. I got a chance to watch games. You just can't beat yourself. And that's what usually shows up in football games, is that when you got a conference that's competitive as our conference, then you can't beat yourself. You got to execute at a high level, and you got to come to play every Saturday. And if you do that, you give yourself a chance to win. I think it always comes down to turnovers, penalties, and effort. And whichever team can control those areas got a chance to win a football game on Saturdays.
Coach, the development of your players, talk a little bit about J.J. Davis and some of the skill players, and again, guys work hard to get better every week.
Well, they're going to have to step up. Our skill players are going to have to play well. We got to put them in position to make plays, and that's our challenge this week is creativity, innovation, really getting our guys moving in the right direction, doing some things and taking advantage of the talent that we have on offense and putting them in position to make plays. We got to create some explosive plays because we know this week we're going to have to score. And if we can do that, it always starts with running the football. You got to be able to run the football to give yourself a chance. And that's what we're challenging our guys with. I see a renewed focus coming out of the bye week because our guys had played 7 in a row. They were tired and they were beat up and we were hanging on. But now we got a chance to get a good fresh start going into this week and get the football team mentally locked in for our game on Saturday.
Coach, the concept of program coming in from Southern, you went through COVID, you're recruiting, you're doing things, chopping wood, carrying water. Just talk about continuing that effort, and it's only going to get better.
Well, I think we all know it's going to get better. I think people see the talent that we have in our young guys. A lot of guys we redshirted, just trying to make sure that you get the right pieces of the puzzle in place. We know that this next recruiting class is got to be big for us. We got to have some guys in there that can come in and make a difference. And we're just following the process. We understand it. We know where we are, and that's not where we want to be. But we're working. And as long as we chop wood, carry water, and just follow the process. When you follow the process, over time, it's going to work out. You look at some of the programs, a lot of the guys in this conference have been at their programs 3+ years now, and you start to see the fruits of that labor pay off. And most of them came into programs that were at the bottom. So being able to come in and rebuild the program and just see that fruits of your labor pay off, you seeing that with Coach Scott and his football team. They're playing well at Howard. You're seeing that with Coach Oliver and his football team, Coach Milstead. You're seeing it. And you're seeing these guys develop players and being able to grow these players in the right direction. And that's what we're trying to do with our process is that we weren't looking forward to be like this year, but we've had some injuries at some key places that has made us not as good of a football team as we anticipated. But it's an opportunity for guys to step up. And the last third of the season, we're expecting these guys to step up. That red shirt factor, you got 4 games left, so we are able to get some guys playing that we weren't able to play early in the year. But we're going to get a chance to see some of this young talent that we recruited a year ago touch the field, and hopefully that make a difference.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Julia Haskins.
Hi, Coach. I'm just wondering, is there anything in particular that you guys honed in on this week during the bye?
Blocking and tackling. That was the biggest thing. Just getting a lot of young guys some reps. We believe we got some young talent that can really play this game, and we spent the bye week getting them some reps, and those guys, they played as advertised. It's just fortunate that you want to redshirt them from a physical standpoint because they're not able to last a season, and that's big in development. I think the weight room is one of the key components in developing. But the last 4 games of the season, we're going to be able to put some guys out there and give them a chance to showcase their talents.
And you kind of touched on it there just from a physicality standpoint. Have you seen those younger guys, what's it been like, watching them? Have they been getting frustrated at, some of the injuries that they've succumbed to and whatnot?
No, they hadn't had a whole lot of setbacks with our younger guys. They've had some injuries, but nothing that's going to keep them out. We've held most of them out because getting them ready for the long haul of the season, just knowing that we played some earlier, then we rested them until the end. We're not going to just waste those guys, but they're getting themselves ready mentally. But we know our best football is in front of us, and we got a good football team. We got a young football team. I think we got 5 seniors on the football team, so that's not a lot. So a lot of these guys will be back, and then we go get some additions to come in, and hopefully we can put an even better football team going forward next year.
And are you overall, how pleased are you with the growth of this young football team at this point in the season, both from a physical and mental standpoint?
Well, we play in spurts, and that's what you get with a young football team. You show glimpses. You show signs that, you can do it. You show signs that you can make plays. Then you show signs where mentally you're not locked in. And that's one of the hardest things that experience provide is an understanding of how to prepare to play this game. And a lot of guys are getting some experience, and we're going to come out of the bye week just really homing in on getting our guys prepared, what we need to do, how we need to do it, and just focus these guys in so that they can play better on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Awesome, Coach. Those are all the questions. So thank you for your time today and good luck this week.
Always a pleasure. Behold, the green and gold.
The Spartans host Howard in a 2 p.m. matchup on Saturday. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. and the game can be seen live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have South Carolina State head coach, Coach Buddy Pugh. Good morning, Coach Pugh. How are you? Coach Pugh, you there? See you on. Not sure if you can hear me. All right, I know Coach Wilson is on, so I think Coach Pugh may be having some technical difficulties. We'll jump ahead to Coach Wilson, and then we'll circle back and get Coach Pugh. Morning, Coach Wilson. How you doing?
Good morning. I don't want to make Coach Pugh any upset, any matter. Let's give him a second.
Okay, let's give him.
We're good, Karen. I'm good. How you doing?
I am well today, Coach. Can you give us some insight about Delaware State, about the game at Delaware, Lord have mercy, on Saturday? Thank you.
Yeah, we played the top 10, top 15 team in the country. Our guys really came to play the first half. I think we kind of ran out of gas second half, and we had some self-inflicted penalties that not necessarily penalties, but turnovers that hurt us in the second half. But all in all, I think our guys really responded well after getting beat up pretty good against North Carolina Central that Thursday night. So I saw some promising, moving in the right direction.
All right, and then you all take on South Carolina State on Saturday. So what can we expect from the Bears this weekend?
Well, hey, we're going to have to improve our game this week because South Carolina State's coming off a big win at North Carolina Central. And Coach Pugh, he's the guy. He's the guy that we all aspire to be, and he's the guy that's going to push his team and have his guys ready to rock and roll Saturday. The very physical football team play well in all 3 phases. I respect a lot. So we have to match their physical style as well as make sure we're ready to roll schematically.
Awesome, Coach. Those are the questions I have for you. We can turn to the media now, beginning with Dr. Cavill. Do I see your hand? Okay, James Hill. He looks frozen. All right, do we have any questions for Coach Wilson? I don't want to let you off, Coach, before we at least get 1 or 2 questions on here.
I'm fine with getting off.
Hey, this is Stephen Gaither from HBCU Game Day. How you doing, Coach Wilson?
I'm doing good, Stephen. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. I'm sorry I didn't raise my hand, Karen. Just hopping on just to make sure get this question in. Coach, you guys, again, you're facing South Carolina State this weekend. I mean, obviously, you're coming off a tough game against a top 10 opponent, but, you know, South Carolina State, obviously, what they've done in this conference, everyone knows. But, you know, from week to week, everybody has a chance. What is it that you guys can do this week that will give you guys a chance to kind of maybe, take the wind out of their sails a little bit after they come riding high from that win from North Carolina Central?
We have to play mistake-free football. We have to be physical. You know, got to play four quarters. You know, like I said, Coach Pugh's going to have his guys ready to roll. It's a very good football team. It doesn't, like you said, doesn't get any easier for us coming off the University of Delaware game and going into South Carolina State. Doesn't get any easier, but we have to play 4 quarters. Once again, have to be physical and eliminate the mistakes.
And Mr. Graham, obviously the Russian attack a couple weeks ago had a really great game. Against Central struggled a little bit, and then last week, what's the outlook for the running game, and how is he and trying to get back against the South Carolina State defense that actually did allow a running game to accumulate, almost 300 yards of offense, which is pretty rare. Just talk about maybe trying to get him going and seeing what you guys can do against that run defense.
It starts with our guys up front. We had a couple guys down this past week, throughout the season. However, those guys have been fighting. We're pretty young. I think we have one senior offensive lineman. Everybody else is a freshman or redshirt freshman. So, those guys have gotten some snaps under their belt now. Graham is a special back. We feel as though we have 2 guys that can run the ball pretty well with Graham and Jabril. But we have to. It starts with up front. If our O-line is physical, and once again, we're not starting behind the chains, not having any self-inflicted wounds, we have a chance to be able to run the ball and be successful. So, that's something we're going to focus on this week as we prepare for South Carolina State. And, we'll see when the ball's kicked off at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Cavill. You're muted. You're muted, Doc.
My apologies. This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I know you talked a little bit about Delaware in terms of that matchup. Can you go back in terms and talk about the physicality of that game? How do you measure that of what you've seen throughout this first season thus far, or even compared to your Bowie State days in terms of last couple of years?
Doc, that was something that I was really surprised or really proud of, I should say. Our guys physically matched up pretty well. They fought. They fought. I think towards the end, they got a cheap touchdown in the 4th quarter. But towards the latter part of the 3rd quarter, we started to wear a little bit. But the first 2 quarters, I think we really fought hard. We came out of halftime, had an interception the first play of the second half, which doesn't fare well when you're playing against a good opponent. We have a long way to go. But the thing I was most impressed with the fighting the guys after, like I said, getting our butts kicked on that Thursday night, and for them to turn around and play a nationally ranked opponent and to come out and fight with the energy that they did, I was really impressed with that. I thought we had a great week of preparation going into the game, and that's what it's going to take to continue to move this program forward and continue to develop the guys that we have in the program while we recruit new guys in.
Your coaching philosophy, do you go into a matchup with the team that obviously is a championship team from last year, got a big win and could be ranked in terms of HBCU poll rankings? Do you talk about the program coming in, coach, at that, or do you just say this is the next opponent on the schedule? Which direction do you go in terms of how does it move with motivation or anything like that?
If I have to get guys motivated to play South Carolina State, then I got the wrong guys in my program. This program has been a staple of the MEAC. These guys are even when I was at Bowie State, I always watched what Coach Pugh was doing. I watched those guys were doing. So if you can't get up for a game like this, you're the wrong guy. You're a guy that we need to probably replace in the program. You should be up and ready to roll for these are bullies of the conference. These are guys that set the standard. These are guys that in order for us to get where we want to go, we're going to have to beat, and we're not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to dummy down how good they are or, it's a big game, and it's a game to let us know how far, how close we are to the top tier teams in the MEAC.
Man, I like that attitude. Make me want to get out there and tackle, but I don't have any more eligibility, coach. So don't worry about it. Don't make the call. Don't want to hurt you. With that being said, I want to talk about schematically. What do you see that South Carolina does that allows them to beat the bullies on the block, offensively, defensively, and then how do you attack that from what you've seen on film?
I think they have guys that at every level. They at least have 3 possible NFL guys on their roster right now that are playing at a high level. But defensively, they had a guy up front that causes problems. They got the guy at the second level, guy in the back end that causes problems. So they play good team ball. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. They're well coached. They're disciplined. Like I said, so we have to match not only the intensity, but also from a coaching staff standpoint, we have to try to find a way to put some of those guys in binds, make them make tough decisions. And hopefully they make a wrong step here or there, that we'll get a guy, leak out the backfield or whatever it may be. But we have our work cut out for us for sure. But this is probably this is a top team. Don't look at their record. This team has played, 3 or 4 FBS programs. This is a top team in FCS, and we won't let their record fool us at all.
Thank you, Coach Wilson. Look forward to the matchup.
You got it.
All right, Coach Wilson, thank you so much for your time and good luck this week.
Thank you, Karen.
Take care. The Bears host the Bulldogs of South Carolina State in a 12 p.m. matchup on Saturday. The game can be seen live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. And I see Coach Pugh here with me. So, Coach Pugh, how you doing?
I lost track of time. I got to talking with my AD down at her office, and somehow or another I got distracted. But I'm back, so hopefully I didn't mess y'all up too bad.
No, you're good, Coach. You're good. Thank you for being here with us. Can you give us the opening statement about Saturday's game against North Carolina Central?
We played North Carolina Central, and I kind of feel for Central because I can be honest with you, I don't know how we won the game. They outplayed us in every phase of the game, and it's been that way now for a couple of years. Trey has done such a good job with his team. And we just seem to luck out somehow or another, win a game. Our guys did play better, though. We played better than we played in the past, which kind of surprised the people a little bit because we've been ugly up to that point. We still not really good, but we were better Saturday. And we threw the ball around a little bit better. Our quarterback played a good bit better. I can tell you, though, that our league is so even until anybody can beat anybody. We talking about one loss, all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you, I don't know if we'll be able to go through the league. The best case scenario right now will be for us to win out, for Central to win out. If we could do that, and that would give both of us, I think Central could get into the playoffs. And at that point, then it will give us a chance to go to the Celebration Bowl. But as of right now, it's one game at a time. We're going to have to play Morgan. Coach Wilson and myself worked together last year at the Legacy Bowl down at the All-Star game in New Orleans, and we got to be good friends. I'm looking forward to going up to Baltimore to play them this week. They're just getting started, and I'm hoping they just get started because the last thing I need is for them to get loose for that daggone running back. The Graham and both Johnson, number 2 and number 5. They run like scarlet dogs, both of them. They just doggone hauling all over the place. So I'm concerned because we don't seem to be able to. These guys rushed the football for almost 250 yards on a Saturday. What the heck is going on, man? And they're just running by guys. We had one guy to run 60 yards right by a guy who just kind of just standing there. I was saying, tackle him, he just standing there, So, you ain't got nothing to do and he ain't got nothing to do and y'all running by each other. It's like 2 ships passing the night. But, it's a pretty safe bet that these guys are going to try to run the football on us because everybody else has. And we got to figure this out. So we got our work cut out for us. We're going up to Baltimore to play at 12 noon this Saturday. Looking forward to it.
All right, Coach. Thank you for that. Turning over to the media questions. Dr. Cavill, are you there?
Everybody left already? Okay.
We still got some
Oh, here
people.
goes James with his dog. James, you got some good internet down there? I don't know if you got.
This internet is killing me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good right now. Up until the time you ask a question.
Yes,
all right.
Yes,
for it.
sir. I had an opportunity to see the Bulldogs up close and personal. Talk a little bit about your team as you move forward and try to get back to MEAC right now.
Well, we won a game, which is what we needed. We actually won a game the previous week against Virginia Lynchburg, and heck, at that point, we were just happy to win a game. So we got a chance to beat Central on Saturday, and as everybody who saw the game was keenly aware of, it was a toss-up to the very end. And I can't by any stretch of the imagination say that we are a superior team to Central. I can tell you that I thought that they were a really good football team, probably a better football team than us. I don't know if we deserved to win, but we did, and we're not giving it back. But it's one of those things where I think our team is kind of a work in progress. We're still trying to find ourselves, and our quarterback played better Saturday, which was really, a delight because of the fact that we've been throwing the football down in the mid to high 40s range percentage wise, and he was able to get up to about 68% in that particular game on Saturday. I think he was 21 for 31, which was a good bit better than we've been in the past. So I thought that was a big part of the whole equation. We spread the ball around pretty good. I think we had 11 guys to either catch or receive balls. We had another 4 or 5 to run the football. So we were a diverse offense in a way where, it was a little bit of a surprise, I'm sure, to North Carolina Central because of the fact that we were a little bit different than what we had been. But, we are work in progress. We'll continue to kind of add to the mix. I don't know exactly where we're headed this week, but we need to figure it out because Morgan can really give us some problem. And defensively, they really are stout up front. We really need to figure out exactly how we can, attack them because at this point right now, they seem to be really that they were 14-7 with Delaware into the middle of the third quarter. And Delaware is one of the top championship subdivision teams in the country. So, we are concerned, and defensively, they really seem to be, possibly really tough. And at the same time, they've got some weapons on offense.
Coach Pugh, successful Black coaches, yourself, and then we look at Coach Wilson, what he was able to do at Bowie State, and now he's bringing that to Morgan, building a program. Just talk about the legacy of coaches like yourself and gentlemen that work hard and help these
well, Coach Wilson's a tried and true veteran. He had a tremendous run at Bowie, right down the street from where he is, and it was a great hire for for Morgan to be able to get him to move across the tracks and come over to Morgan State. So, I'm looking forward to him being a part of this league for years to come. Maybe he can take over and kind of, do some of the stuff that I was trying to do for the league, over the years. And I'm getting kind of close to the end of my deal. He's just kind of getting started. I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes in another few years.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week and a blessed game on Saturday.
All right, James.
Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Pugh, you play such a tough front end of your schedule, and with just 5 league members, obviously the number of non-conference games has increased in terms of that. How do you coach through that process of not allowing your team to get down? A couple of weeks ago, you talked about the fact, hey, we just need to get a win. You got the win, and then you were able to get some momentum and play good football. How do you continue to get your kids to focus in terms of your assistant coaches doing really well in it?
Well, Doc, we've been through it before. I think the main point of our existence here is that we've got to make a few bucks to keep our program going. So we make our guys aware of the fact that we're going to have some hard times early in our schedule. And at that point, then we're going about the task of getting into our league, hopefully, in a good, solid, positive way. But it's tough now. I can tell you, anytime you go into a season 1-4, like we have in the last 2 years, then, it becomes can we keep our guys mindset wise, on a good, positive side of things, because it's hard. And, I can tell you that we are extremely fortunate. We are 3-4 now, I think. Heck, it's kind of hard as far as we've been down in that hole to figure out exactly, if that's the light up there, if that's something but the train coming. But at the same time, we have had enough experience going through what we've gone through that we kind of sort of can reflect back in the past and say we've done this before and we can do it again.
Your scheduling philosophy, obviously the FBS games stand alone, play 2 of those, and financially they are there, but then you also have a philosophy of playing rivalries that are no longer conference games, whether it's A&T, Bethune-Cookman, and FAM. You want to keep those on the schedule. Then I think next year, during the COVID, you went to Alabama State. I think that's going to be back on the schedule. A team that's playing pretty well. Where are you with the philosophy of keeping those kind of teams on your schedule in terms of rivalries, but also playing other HBCU FCS programs? Why is that important to what you want to get done for your program?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that iron sharpens iron. You got to go out and play the people who gonna really give you some real test of the manhood kind of opportunities. And we've had I guess maybe A&T and FAM and Bethune on our schedule so long now until we wouldn't know any other way. We couldn't. And then those guys put on our schedule. They're not actually on our 23 schedule. All 3 of those guys kind of, figured a way to get off our schedule for a year, but now they come back in 24 the way I understand it. And, it's one of those kind of deals where we just enjoy. They close by us, it's convenient for their fans to come here, ours to go there. There ain't no reason why we don't play each other, except for the fact that we just can't work it out. But if we can figure a way to get to Tallahassee or the Greensboro or the Daytona Beach or some of them kind of places, then we don't, and we're going to make it happen.
Thank you for that, Coach. I look forward to continue to watch the game and look forward to this Morgan State matchup.
I appreciate you.
All right, Coach Few, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck this week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, Karen. See y'all next week.
Take care, Coach.
Bye-bye.
South Carolina State makes the trip up to Baltimore, Maryland to take on Morgan State. Kickoff is set for 12 p.m. and the game will air live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. At this time, we'd like to conclude our press conference, but before we do, as always, I'd like to thank the media members who joined us and participated today, and the ones who watched later. Sports information directors for their assistance with today's call. And as always, the MEAC would like to thank its corporate partners. Our next call is next Monday, October 31st, starting at 10 a.m. As always, for up-to-date news on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, log on to MEACsports.com. Follow MEAC Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the MEAC Digital Network on YouTube. Once again, thank you everyone for being with us today and have a great football week.